Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Kevirsyle Network. I am your host, Kevin Davis. I am an author, comic creator, entrepreneur, introvert, get out of my comfort zone, go giver, as I've been told, and I don't sleep or eat, and I get yelled at by my friends for not doing that. But today we have a special guest, another comic creator of my and friend of mine, and he has a new comic coming out from Dark. If I forgive me if I get a company name wrong, but Dark Studios. Let's please welcome my friend Todd Rayner.
Hey,
Hey,
how you
brother, how you
doing?
doing? Dark Space
Good, man.
Studio. That's the name of your
Yeah,
company.
yeah,
I am so
yeah.
sorry. I said
No
Dark
worries, man.
Studio.
Yeah,
I
Dark
am
Space Studio. Yeah,
Dark Dark Space Studios, guys.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
How you doing, man?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. So, can you tell us little bit about yourself, your story, what got you into making comics?
I started as a lot of for all the new people that haven't heard me talk before. I started as a teenager. A lot of kids my age just reading comics in the late '80s, early '90s. Right before the image boom, and then
Mm.
once the image boom hit, that really kind of supercharged me wanting to draw, to read more. I read more comics, and that's really where a lot of my inspiration comes from. Is like late '80s, early '90s comics, superhero stuff.
What was
Um,
like your favorite comic that you could now put that you could not put down that has really inspired you that gave you that spark if you can remember?
Man, there's a lot. I mean, I do this, I do this with my wife all the time. Like, we'll talk about movies because I love movies, I love music, and I'm always like, all right, what's
Mm.
your favorite horror movie or your favorite whatever? And she's like, I
Yeah,
don't list, I don't do lists. I'm like, so it's funny, you put me on the spot for a list. I probably, I'd have to say like,
it
although
doesn't have to
I
be a
mean,
long list, but that's like name a few would be
yeah,
good.
like Spawn is by far one of my favorite
Oh
ones.
yes, I love Spawn. Heck
A
yes.
lot of
Okay.
a lot of people love Spawn. I love obviously, like you can see behind me, like Batman, Spider-Man, and Wolverine are really kind of my favorite
Heck yes.
superheroes as far as males are concerned. I have kind of a whole nother list of female characters, but um yeah, Spawn, Batman, Punisher was always great, and Ninja
Oh,
Turtles.
nice.
I drew inspiration from the early Ninja Turtle books. So, and then once Image hit, and then I got to see like really what art can be in
Mm,
comic books, because like if you think about it, like in the '80s, a lot of it did look similar. Even,
mm,
I mean, you take someone as extreme as Tom McFarlane, what he was doing before he was on Spider-Man
mm,
looked similar to some of the other Marvel stuff.
mm,
And once he got on Spider-Man and his own title and just branched out with Image, like everybody's style was kind of like really refined by the time they hit Image, and they were
mm,
all unique. And there was a lot of copycats, to be fair. Like there was a lot of studios popping up, Extreme Studios, and what Jim Lee was doing with a lot,
mm,
and that those styles, they were looking for artists that could kind of mimic those styles. But
mm,
before they had these studios, like you had this really cool variety of artwork,
mm.
and even in like some modern comics today, I feel like the artwork has gotten a little stale. It's just my opinion, like with the big
Wow.
two, it's a little similar. Color
Yeah.
palettes are kind of the same, the art styles are kind of, and maybe I'm just like an old nostalgic guy and I love the '90s artwork, but
Mm,
um, you know, I'd say those four were the biggest inspiration.
wow. I mean, I know a lot of people always talk about their favorite superheroes. Do you by chance have favorite villains,
Favorite
male or
villains.
female? Yeah. Or even
Yeah.
an anti-hero. Like I try to flip the script. I mean, we already give
Yeah.
favorite superheroes. Saying, well, what my favorite villains? Let's show them some love because being a villain is more fun. If we're gonna be
Yeah.
honest.
Definitely. I, the thing with villains that's interesting is some of the villains have the script has flipped, right? Where you take
Mm,
someone like Venom, where he was a bad guy, like straight up bad guy, and then you have this like flipping of the script where now it's like he's an anti-hero, but is he really
mm,
a villain? Is he not?
mm,
I mean, I did always like Venom. When I first saw Venom, I'm like, that's pretty fun and different. And then I heard a story. I was watching an interview with Todd McFarlane. He's like, he talked about how he kind of co-created and helped create Venom, and I thought it was like a never heard the story before. It was pretty interesting how that came to light, and he's one of the
interesting.
most
Okay.
popular villains.
Mm,
Doctor Doom's pretty fun. Violator was always kind of cool, just like the way he was, and in the movies, John Leguizamo just was like goofy with it. I loved it. Joker, obviously, Joker was kind of fun. I like the more colorful villains, not literally
Mm,
colorful, but just
mm.
like they're just crazy,
Like
right?
how
They're
like
just
they got a stronger personality. You mean?
yeah,
Or
yeah,
okay.
or they're just like really just crazy. Like they're just out of their mind. Like they don't
Ah,
do things like with intent necessarily. I mean, they're doing intentional things,
okay.
but they're
Yeah.
just like uh, I, Heath Ledger isn't necessarily my favorite Joker, but
Mm,
his character in the Dark Knight series, he just does it just to create mayhem. Like, right? He just
mm.
wants to burn the world down to see it burn down. He doesn't want to
Oh yeah.
build anything from it.
Yeah.
And I love those kind of villains because there's no rationale. So how do you combat that? How do you reason with someone that just is crazy to be crazy?
Oh yeah.
Um, those types of and Violator had a reason, I think, but he was kind of just a silly, crazy villain. Like he would just do like weird stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. Well, it's interesting when I'm talking to like other people about different things, and especially about movies and these type of characters. I've heard a lot of people saying they love that when characters don't get a backstory because you can just
yeah,
enjoy the craziness of that character.
hmm
And I was like, that's interesting. I'm like, I've always loved like hearing a backstory, but then there are certain characters I'm like, I don't want to know. I
yeah,
don't care. I was like, because
yeah,
like I got to the point where I was like, if it captures me, I don't care if there's a backstory, but I still be
yeah,
curious and like I like how some writing like it keeps you open to imagination
hmm
and just interpretation, and it just sucks you in. That's the type of writing I really love when I'm trying to like get into something. Like I'm a huge nerd. I'm horror, fantasy, drama,
hmm
comedy fan. Um, Granted, I didn't grow up reading comics at all. I didn't know about comics until 2020 when COVID hit.
okay,
And like I knew about Marvel and DC, but I knew their movies and shows. I didn't know there was
okay,
a different medium before their
yeah,
movies and shows. Because I watched Blade, didn't know he was Marvel.
yeah,
The Hulk, I didn't know he was Marvel. And the MCU started. I didn't know they was based on books. And when COVID hit, I wanted to like try something new, like get back to reading. And then I found out about comic books.
hmm
And so I really like some digital Marvel DC comics. And then I found out about indie comics. I was like, what is this thing called indie comics? Like, what the heck is this?
yeah,
I thought because I've always thought it was just Marvel and DC. I mean, I never thought that was more. And that's where I learned about Image, Boom
hmm
Studios, IDW,
hmm
Dynamite, um, what's Dark? You said Dark Horse.
yeah, Dark Horse,
Dark Horse. I learned about Dark Horse through Hellboy when I found out Hellboy was
yeah,
published by Dark Horse.
hmm
'Cause I love the movies, and I didn't know he was based on a comic.
yeah,
And so I started buying indie, like I buy the physical indie comics, but I read the digital Marvel DC comics. I don't even care to
hmm
buy the physical Marvel DC because I read
yeah.
the digitals, but I buy the physical. So if you can see my dresser, it's legit indie comics.
Yeah, that's
And
that's what's in my closet is a lot of indie books.
oh yeah, and I was inspired to potentially wanted to get in comics. And
hmm
so I studied and took my time studying how to like write comics and how that process goes. So it took me about a good 2.5 years to like really know the process of making comics. I talked to other writers that's been in the industry and getting their advice and how they explained to me that I have to write a comic script. And I
hmm
was like, a script like a movie? I was like, what? They said yes, but it's in different format. It's by
Right.
panels, not by like a straight line of like
hmm
of a screenplay movie. I
Right.
was like, I'm like, I'm confused. So they gave me a sample of what I mean by panel. I was like, oh, panel one, two, three, yada yada yada.
Right.
And
Right. Right.
I was like, oh, so I'm like that. Okay, that's not that complicated. But then I started to want to write myself, and I said, okay, this is complicated. Because I'm like, I got that because I got the idea of what I want to write, but the question is, how do I write it? Like, I
hmm
know the end point, but how do I get the beginning, middle, and end?
hmm
And I know you have to be very specific with in within your script, so the artist can see what you see in your head.
Hmm.
So I'm curious, how do you uh your creative process? How do you break down when you're telling your story for your comic? How do you break down? Do you like do an outline first, or you just go straight to the script, or does it
Yeah,
depend?
I, I would preface to say, kind of like yourself, I'm all self-taught artist, writer, inker, colorist, the whole like,
Oh
yeah, I
wow,
had, yeah,
you're
I
full
have,
deep dives. Good lord.
yeah, yeah, I do it all.
Wow. Whew.
And I am schooled. I went to
Mm,
college. I have a degree in small business and design, but like, that
beautiful.
taught me a lot of the foundation stuff and the business side of things that you have to pay attention to.
Mm,
So just putting that out there for anybody, listening, like you can do it even if you have to self-teach yourself. And
mm,
I was in a era, we're talking 2007ish when I graduated college. So
mm,
that was before really the internet is what it is today.
mm,
There's a lot more out there now that you can learn.
mm,
So to a little bit deep dive in my process is I do write an outline.
mm,
I did that for my first creator book, Ice Pick, and it really helped me. I basically just say this is what I want the story arc to be.
mm,
Good versus evil, and then I start fleshing it out. Like, what do I want to happen issue one? And I'll just write, I don't know, 4 to 8 sentences, maybe somewhere's around there, just a
okay.
handful of sentences to just say like, this is what's going on in issue one. This is what's going on in issue two, three, and four, and then I can make sure that that's cohesive and make sure that it makes
Mm,
sense as far as like, did I achieve what that general goal was for the four
mm,
issue outline. I end up writing 4 issue miniseries. I like that. I think it's a nice kind of bite to kind of chew on a little bit.
mm,
4 issues is not as long as 6 or 12 that some story arcs roll, and then I can
yeah.
I end up making it a nice trade paperback and adding in a lot of the behind the scenes work that goes into making comics. So I
Mm,
write an outline, kind of write out just brief description of each issue, and then I get into like issue one. And I set up a template, a loose template on scripting. So I just change out what I need, like the headline, the book, the title, all that good stuff. And then it's like page one, page two, and all that's kind of set up. So I can just go in there. Panel one, I typically will write out a short description of what's going on in panel one. And
mm,
is kind of based on my love of film. And, when I was in college, I actually got to work on a couple short indie films, which helped me understand behind the scenes of the filmmaking process. So for me, like when I describe a panel, it's kind of like medium shot, far shot, close up, reverse
mm.
angle. Like I use a lot of that terminology, and it helps to create almost like a cinematic feel to what the
Ah,
artist can do,
yeah.
because you're framing it as you would in a film.
Mm,
And it's not necessarily always widescreen, right? Your panels are
yeah.
different sizes and heights and shapes and stuff,
Yeah.
but the artists really like having that type of direction. So it could be like over the shoulder shot of Ice Pick talking to Annabelle, or
Ah,
hey,
yeah.
it's like a wide shot. They're all sitting on a couch, all the characters, and this character is talking to this character. This character looks confused, and then I go in and write out the actual like kind of the words of the script of what they're talking about. But I try to do that for every panel. I
Mm,
love splash panels too, like the 2 page splash pages,
mm.
and I'll
That'd be the most
always,
fun, I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, and they're fun to draw as an artist. So I know like artists like
Oh,
drawing
okay.
this. So I end up like always sprinkling those in. If there's like a really cool big, action scene or something going on,
Mm,
I try to write that into scripts as well. I try to plot out like, okay, in issue one, this is what's going on. Is there moments where I can have these like fun, over the top action sequences? So I'll always try to write in a handful of pages, if not more. Like I try to keep my books minimum words with maximum kind of action.
mm,
Enough
mm,
words to progress and tell the story, but also enough action to keep people visually interested as well. So there's always this like balance,
mm.
you know. But yeah, that's typically how I do it.
Yeah. And it's interesting how you keep it balanced. So you think that like there are like some books that are like too much lettering in it that you can
Absolutely.
just it just like overtakes the art.
Absolutely. And it's the same thing with film. And I
Mm,
think that's maybe where, my opinion kind of comes from is
mm.
I've watched films where it's 2 hour film, even an hour and 45 minutes. And I'm like, they could have cut 20 minutes out of this film and it not mattered. So
Wow.
when I read comics, and I've seen this more recently, probably in the last 5 to 7 years, like it's like too many words. Like a good writer can get that point across in the least amount of words as possible. So I try to achieve that. Like I understand if there's a lot that you have to tell, well,
Yeah,
maybe you might want to expand that into multiple pages instead of trying to put 10 word balloons on one page, or 20 word balloons.
yeah,
You know what? Make that 2 or 3 pages. And what that also does for the viewer, the reader, is it gives them time to breathe. It gives them time to kind of
mm,
like digest what they're reading and visually digest what they're seeing. And
mm,
so that's for me, like I will break up kind of those moments of like sitting down and just kind of vomiting all the story, right? If there's like this
mm,
big reveal, I'll tell it within 1 or 2 pages, but then I get right back into something more interesting visually so that the
mm.
reader's not bored.
Right. That's interesting. Okay. I'm also taking this advice from. I'm taking this to heart, by the way, because
Yeah.
I'm 3 years into making comics,
Hmm.
and so listen to that advice actually really makes more sense now. Because when I'm writing a script, I try not to put too much in one page,
Hmm.
especially the lettering,
Yeah.
because I know I have a massive imagination. Well, I try to like condense it down to not be sloppy, if that makes
Hmm.
sense.
Yeah.
Um, so now I know I'm doing it right since
Yeah.
you said that. And um, so I don't go more than like 6 panels a page. I
Yeah.
don't go more than that. That's the maximum. I've learned that if you do too many panels on a page, it gets too what's the word? Too crowded.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
because I've seen pages like that's we get real too crowded and it kind of just turns me off. I was like,
Hmm.
that's too much of
Yeah.
one. So I understand completely what you mean by that.
Yeah.
Um, and when you're telling your story, is there like certain movies or shows that inspires you when you're writing your story, and that inspired you to create your own concept from taking parts of movies of different movies? If
No,
that makes
that's a
sense.
good question. But
I was like,
the
I'm
short
trying
answer
to.
is
I'm trying.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm a fan of a lot of like small cast films that
Mm,
take place within like a day or two. So,
mm.
an example is kind of like John Carpenter's The Thing, which is a classic, right? Even like the
Oh
first Halloween.
yes. Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
I'm a
No,
huge
you're
nerd.
right.
Sorry. Sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, I love that film. I mean, The Thing is just to me, it's like it's a perfect film. There's few films that are like perfect in my opinion. I know people say Jaws is one of them, but for me, it's like John Carpenter's The Thing. Like that is a perfect film. Small
Yeah, I would
cast.
I would probably go with the thing over Jaws if I'm gonna be honest. So I'm
Yeah.
I'm with you on that
Eh,
one. Yeah.
Yep. It takes place in a couple days. It feels like
Mhm.
a few days. And that's I take inspiration from that. So all the stories I've written, Ice Pick, Annabelle, and now Luke, they're all in that
That's your
formula.
news book, right? The Luke.
Luke is my latest book, yeah, and
Okay.
it's
We
a
get to that.
supernatural
We get to
horror
that one in
book.
a second. Okay. We get to that
Yeah,
one in a second.
but
Okay.
all three of my books are all three character stories are in
Mm,
that formula. There's three main characters. Ice
okay.
Pick, his name is Adam, Annabelle, and Luke. Those are the three main characters. Each book tells their story. They
Mm,
take place within 1 to 2 days, and it's basically those three characters with a villain, or maybe a
mm,
couple villains.
mm.
So absolutely, I would say even for Ice Pick when I was doing that, that was the first story I wrote. 4 issues, did the entire book myself. It took forever to get all 4 issues done. So
Like you wrote and drew everything.
yeah, everything. Yeah, I mean
Wow.
everything. Write, draw,
You are a
color,
beast, my
ink.
friend.
Well, it took like 11 months, 10, 11 months to do 1 issue. And at that
Wow.
point, I thought I was doing a disservice to the fans because they really liked it. I would do
Mm,
shows, we do conventions as indie creators. And, sometimes I'm doing 2 or 3 shows a year,
mhm.
and fans are like, when's the next issue coming out? I really love this issue. And I'm like, I'm working on it, but I'm like one man show here. So it takes forever.
Right.
So my next book, I kind of had an art team, and books came out a little bit sooner than that, which was nice. And even with Luke, it's a little bit faster pace. So I'm able to kind of keep giving the fans something new to look forward to every 3, 4 months, versus every year. But Yeah, Ice Pick was a lot of fun, and I actually that was during the time where Daredevil, Marvel Daredevil was on Netflix, and there's
Oh,
actually
I love
love
Daredevil
that
so
show.
much.
It's one of the
Yeah.
best shows. That there's a couple scenes where I actually took like a layout from that show and put it in my
Oh,
comic. It just worked. I mean, like the way I was like the storyline. There's like a scene where Kingpin is sitting inside the back of a SWAT team bus or truck or something, a van,
oh,
and
yeah. I know you're talking. Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
have a scene like that. Like I used that shot in my book. So I mean
Man.
I pull reference from everything, anything that's relevant that's gonna work for the story.
Heck yeah, I'm the same way. Like with my story, Arcfire, I kind of
Hmm.
like pull like from Stranger Things,
Hmm.
Man of Steel, Charmed, and if you know the show Teen Wolf from 2011,
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
reboot of Teen Wolf. So I kind of pull inspiration from those into my Arcfire series. Uh, and I pull from Stranger Things because the character 11, how she has the cosmic power.
Hmm.
uh, that's my character Castillo. He has a cosmic power where he's from a different planet.
Okay. Yeah.
But he wakes up in the science lab from because he's breaking out of an egg, like of an egg, a cocoon egg,
Okay.
and he has no memory of how he got there, who he is, and so the
Hmm.
series go. He's on a journey trying to figure out uh how what's his heritage basically,
Right. Right.
because there's a prophecy saying that he's the last of his Arcfire kind.
Okay.
I'm not gonna spoil it. That's that's the
Yeah.
yeah. And so he's going on this journey. In issue two, he meets a vampire named Cavell and a witch named Coffee.
Hmm.
I did call her Coffee or Coffee. I forget. When I write something that comes out of my head, I forget what sometimes. I have to go back to it. But in issue two, he finds them because because Coffee and Cavell are trying to figure out who killed Cavell's sister.
Hmm.
And so they're trying to figure out why they're connected. Why is Castillo helping them? Of course, there's going to be trust issues from Cavell and Castillo because they don't know each other yet.
Yeah.
And so you like you don't know who to trust. So it's kind of like that cat and mouse um, um, balance where he's like, can I trust you? Can you not? I'm like, and there's going to be like some characters going to make decisions that looks wrong, but it's actually for a good reason.
Hmm.
And so like I try to like bring twists and turns just to have fun and like you think you can like you sure you can trust that person or
Right. Right.
thing? I was like, you sure that person is not trustworthy? So I was like, I try to
Yeah.
like make it suspenseful, have fun with it to make an audience feel like they're in the story.
Hmm.
That's also why I got into storytelling because I want to help people like escape the world for a minute and just have an imagination. It's how
Yeah.
fun but like there's too much crap going on in the world. We just need some fun and just
Yeah.
have a blast. Just need to laugh um and also I just want to get people reading, especially
Yeah.
kids nowadays. It's too much digital going on. It's too much technology.
Hmm.
I was like, and I also got tired of the rehashes in Hollywood with the same old reboots and
Yeah.
like no creativity, and that's really draining to see. I was like, of course I watch them because I love movies, but it's still draining when it's the same old rehashes and reboots of the same franchise. So I was like, y'all are milking these franchises, by the way.
Yeah. It's a cash cow for them. I mean, it really is. You know,
But I was like,
I agree. Like it's too much.
these executives have no balls to make a risk. I'm
No.
like for real. I was like, I'm like, but I mean, look at the movie Sinners. That was the most original movie I've ever seen in a while, and look how well it
Hmm.
did. That was a risk taker. They got their money back. Like, come on, you can take a risk and get your money back, especially if you market it well. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And especially you got a strong writer, a strong producer, a strong director, and market it
Yeah.
well, dude. You can get your money back easily.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing, like kind of film with comics because I mean, as indie creators, we take risks as we're
Mm,
just out there like selling our stories and our characters. And that in itself is a risk because we don't know like people, will they attach themselves? Will they have something? And that's what I try
mm,
to do is write stories that have a personable side to them, but are
mm,
also kind of unique and they're my own take on whatever I'm writing about. So if it's like
mm,
superhero, well, how can I write that a little bit different? You know,
mm,
have like a real life issue, right? but not overtly. Like the whole story is not like drama of real life. I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah,
I,
exactly.
I really try not to make it. Like I know there were stories of like Spider-Man and Superman talking about like having kids and the real life drama of all these, like, should we do this and how would this, I'm like,
Mm,
I don't need that. Like, I like
mm,
the fun escapism. I like the kind of what I like to call supernatural, the super fantastical part of comic books,
yes, yeah.
so I try to write stories that are in that vein, that are, they can be fun, they could be scary, they could be interesting, however you want to, whatever we use to describe them, but write
Hmm.
them all, write all the stories and have fun doing it,
Mm.
so, but there is
And
definitely an oversaturation of like
both, yeah.
superhero films.
Oversaturation, reboots, superhero films.
Yeah,
It's like I had fun with the Disney live actions, but they kind of got a bit too crazy.
yeah,
Like I enjoyed Lilo and Stitch. That was like one of my favorite the live actions. I enjoyed Aladdin and I enjoyed Maleficent, and I enjoyed Little Mermaid, but I feel like they could have did that a whole different. They didn't have to. If they wanted a black mermaid, they could have made a different character. Like
yeah,
it could, I'm like it could have been easier.
yeah. And a lot of it, I was talking with another podcast there, and we were just sitting around chatting about diversity in comics, right? And I
Hmm.
think in the indie scene, you get way more of that. You
Hmm.
get, because it's the creators making these calls. It's not like,
Exactly.
figuratively speaking, the suits, right? It's
Exactly.
people like telling something personal to them.
Yep.
And do I want to have more diversity in my book? Absolutely, but it's got to be right. It's got to flow. It can't
Hmm.
just, a lot of what I see today in film and entertainment in general, it feels forced.
It's
So
very
I
much
try not
forced.
to,
That's
yeah,
obvious.
and
It's very much
I'm not
forced.
doing that. I refuse to do that. Like, I'm not going to put in characters and story arcs that don't work within my universe, right?
Hmm.
There is all
Exactly.
these things there. They all exist. They're just,
Hmm.
I haven't told those stories yet.
Yep.
And I want to make sure
Exactly.
I work with creators that, if I work with a writer that's going to understand the characters, or an artist, like, I want them to understand, like, this is the character, this is their motivations, this is kind of who
Hmm.
they are at their core,
Hmm.
because it says a lot. Like, when you're illustrating, when you're drawing a character, you wouldn't draw like Superman, like a savage Wolverine type character, right? Superman is
Hmm.
kind of clean and slick, and he's heroic, and it's just, there's a style you draw Superman in that
Hmm.
fits the character. Wolverine the same way. So it's just all of these things I kind of look at when I'm looking at art, when I'm looking for submissions from artists or art that I have for my books. It's like, I want it to look a certain way. I work with an artist that gets it, they get that look.
Hmm.
So that's
Oh yeah.
important.
And speaking of Superman, have you seen the James Gunn Superman?
No, not yet.
Oh man, darn it. Okay, that's gonna be the next episode.
I heard it
Because
was good. I heard it was good.
it's it's divided the fan. I would say it
Hmm.
definitely. I mean, I haven't read any comics of Superman at all,
Oh,
but
okay.
so that's why I'm asking people that actually read them. So I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
I'm like you probably have read them. You read the comics.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, so I would love to get when you get to. I would love to hear. I would love to have you back on so we can have a full conversation about Superman. Because one, I saw it on IMAX. By the way, I saw
Hmm.
this metal IMAX. I had fun with it. Um, it get I would say it did give me hope because I know the
Hmm.
Superman represents hope.
Hmm.
It does get jokey at times. I will say.
Yeah.
And I'm saying like so many people saying that this is their Superman. This is how I forgot the man who created Superman, but his
Joe
grandson.
Joe Schuster, and there was two guys. Yeah.
Okay, I think so, one of them's grandsons, I believe,
Hmm.
saw the movie and said that their grandfather would. This is the Superman movie his their grandfather would have loved to see. I
Okay.
was like, interesting. And then I'm seeing so many fans that said they read the comics and that Man of Steel was more accurate. I'm like, and then
Hmm.
others saying this Superman's more accurate. And I was like, I am so confused because I read none of the comics.
Yeah. Well, it's it's interesting because when I
And
go
then they
back
talk
to
about the
like,
Silver Age Superman or something.
right.
I was. Can you please explain the Silver Age and like the ages of super. I don't. I'm confused. I'll be confused. I'm gonna be honest. Like I don't
Yeah,
understand.
it's for me. It's kind of it goes back to almost like I knew Spawn was a comic book, when
Yeah.
I saw that movie, and I knew Blade was, and I was a fan of the '70s Christopher Reeve Superman. Like to me, like the first Superman movie with Christopher Reeve is the best Superman movie.
I will
Like
say this Superman was the closest to Christopher Reeves. I will say that.
yeah, I love him as Superman. But here's the thing, and my wife said this years ago because I
Mm,
can kind of be a little bit thrown off, like, oh, they're gender swapping characters or they're race
mm,
swapping characters, and it got to a point where I was just a little frustrated with this. Like, can we tell the story? Because that's where I feel it felt forced. Like, if you're gonna do it for
mm,
to service the fans, like, are you really servicing the fans? Because I think you're
mm,
servicing an agenda here versus like
mm,
the fans know this character as that character, right? They
mm,
know everything about that. And so I mean, we started watching the early like phase one Marvel heroes with the whole Infinity Gauntlet and all that,
mm,
the 10 years of movies that they made. And most of those are pretty solid and they still hold up. A
mm,
lot, I mean, but as through the years, we're watching this and I'm just like, I don't know, this isn't canon. And that's the question. A lot of
mm,
us fans will say, hey, look, this is not, I had a big thing with Spider-Man because even Spider-Man is nowhere near canon. Like it takes some things from some of the books, but then it like they rewrite other stuff and it's just there's no flow. I know for
mm,
the Venom story, the
mm.
first Venom movie, they actually pulled that the film is from three or four different Venom stories. So
Jesus,
they
really?
basically, yeah, they Frankensteined that film from three or four
Jesus,
different stories. So
Jesus. Okay.
but it's crazy when you start kind of digging into it a little bit. It's a rabbit hole, I will tell you. It's a black hole actually. And
God.
yeah, my wife was like, I just appreciate these films for what they are.
Mm-hmm.
They're a film, right? And maybe look at it as in this is a different artist's interpretation of that character. So
Mm,
for me, like, how many different artists have drawn Spider-Man? A ton, right? I mean, I
mm,
have my favorite artists, but they all draw Spider-Man a little bit different, and I do like a lot of the different styles of Spider-Man.
mm,
So I think for me, like that was kind of a switch in my brain to sit there and in a way separate the film from the canon of any of the books, and so therefore I was able to really kind of more enjoy the films when in the
mm,
back of my head I'm not thinking like, oh, Spider-Man would never do this, or that's not Iron Man, or he didn't do this until way later in the story, but you're
mm,
showing it like one of the first things. So
mm,
it's weird, like they really pulled multiple things. Like the whole Civil War thing from Marvel was a
mm,
later story arc, but then Tony Stark helps Spider-Man build the suit
mm.
with the spider suit, and that was like way earlier. So they're mix and matching like all these different story arcs to tell Infinity Wars. And if you take away the comics and you just watch the films, they're fun films, right? Just shut your
Yeah,
brain
because I
off.
I was an outsider because I only watched the films and shows. I didn't know the
Mhm.
comics at all.
Yeah, so it's a lot of Frankensteining. Is the best way
Jesus
I can put
Christ,
it. Uh, but
man.
once I have that separation to say, okay, don't watch. I'm not going to watch like for this new James Gunn Superman. I'm going to watch it because I've heard a lot of good about it, but I'm going to watch it with like the clarity to know that it's probably not canon. It's just going to be a film. I'm just going to kind of shut my brain off. And is it going to be a good film? Probably.
Mm.
I'm a little bit more laid back when it comes to films. I'm not as critical
Same.
as some people.
It's like
you know,
same, same.
it's like, was it fun? Did I enjoy it?
That part, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
when I'm watching movies and shows, I'm like I have a fan brain and I have a writer brain. So I'm
mhm.
like my fan brain and writer brain kind of fight each other, and I'm just like, this could have been. I'm like, nope, I'm just gonna be a fan and have fun. But I was like,
Yeah,
but it's just certain things. I was like, that could have been done a bit better if I believe it went this route.
yeah.
Um, yeah, and Superman's on HBO Max now.
Nice. Okay.
By the if you have that, it just
Yeah.
put me on HBO Max. Um, Now you explain that with about the Frankenstein, and now I'm worried about Secret Wars and Doomsday that's coming
Oh,
out. Because
yeah. It's gonna be worse.
I actually read about Secret Wars and
Hmm.
looking at the, I guess, mythology or the
Hmm.
of it, I was like, that's a massive story.
Yeah.
how the
Oh
heck
yeah.
are y'all gonna do this movie and with no proper build up within these six
Right.
years? Wait, set, wait, wait. It'll be 8 years when it comes out. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, because phase because after Endgame, the next phase it was 2021. So
Hmm.
2021 to 2027. Oh, it's like 6 years. Okay, I was like 6 years. I was like, how the heck y'all gonna build? They didn't really build this universe at all. And this
No.
at all. I'm like, they just drop stuff just to drop stuff.
Right.
And I was like, how the heck we get to the next Avengers already? I was like,
Hmm.
there's no. I'm like, when they made the cast reveal about Doomsday, there's like Shang-Chi. I was like, they announced part two a couple years ago. Never got it yet. How is he in Avengers? How is he connected? And
Yeah.
then I was like, where the hell is Moon Knight going to be? Where the hell is the Eternals? Because they ended
Yep.
Eternals on a cliffhanger. I was like, where the hell is Captain Marvel for God's sakes? I was like,
Yeah.
where's Thor? I was like, how? Like I'm like I am, but when I heard they brought back the Russo brothers, I was like, I'm optimistic. I'm still worried.
No, it's I
But
would say the storyline is probably going to make sense for the film, but it's not going to make sense to anything else. You know,
okay,
it's they're probably I'm sure they're taking maybe like the overarching theme or the story of Secret Wars, and they're
uh,
probably doing that to bring back the black costume for Spider-Man. I know that was a big thing in Secret Wars, but like you're right, and the whole Infinity Gauntlet storyline, if you read in Infinity Gauntlet, the comic book, the miniseries,
I've been
I
told to read it.
mean,
I haven't got to it yet.
it is, I mean, it's almost night and day, to be honest.
Really?
Uh,
Okay.
yeah, because the comic, well, I say the films, if we
Mm-hmm.
just kind of not even talk about all the build up, but just like the two films in general, you
Mm-hmm.
know, Thanos is doing this to basically bring balance to the universe, right? To
Mm-hmm.
snap his fingers and
Yeah.
make everything like half people disappear. But
Yeah.
that's his motivation in the films, and they show throughout the course of the build up to Infinity Wars him like acquiring the stones, him going on these like
Excuse
missions
me.
or whatever to go get all the stones,
Yeah.
and he's running into all the different superheroes, which again makes sense for the film. Like if you watch these films, you're like, oh, that's cool, I want to see Guardians of Galaxy, I want to see Avengers, I want to see all these different characters. But in the comic, he wants to like he's in love with death, and that's why
Wait,
he
what?
goes. Yeah, I mean, it's again, it's a whole different story. The beginning of Infinity Gauntlet
Uh-huh.
starts after he already snapped his fingers, and the whole story is the aftermath, not the build up to the it's so it's wild, it's really wild when you read the comics. But
Okay,
again, the
I gotta
comics,
read the story. This is
yeah,
interesting. Okay.
I bought the graphic novel. And I was just like, because I had the comic as a kid, and
Okay.
I mean, now it's like actually a pretty valuable comic, depending on what you got. But I bought the
Yeah.
graphic novel because I wanted my wife to be able to read it, and she's like, that story was so much better than the films. like, like it just made.
Where did you get it from? The graphic
Uh,
novel. Is it on Amazon or like a
Oh no,
bookstore?
I mean, there's a couple comic shops around here.
Oh,
So,
okay. Okay.
and then we go to shows, like because I'm at
Oh,
shows, my
okay.
wife is always gracious enough to kind of be my booth babe. So she'll hang out with me at the show. And
That's all. That's amazing.
yeah, she just walks around. She'll come back like, oh, I found these books. She'll like,
I
I'm like, well,
love that so much.
go find me an Infinity Gauntlet or something, or we always do
Wow.
like a pre-show walk, and if some of the vendors are open, I'm always on, got my eyes open for books and what I can see. So yeah, comic shops and conventions. But yeah, the book is definitely, the book is good for a comic book. It's great. The the films are fun if you just shut your brain off and watch the films. They're fun
Mm.
too, but the storylines are night and day.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a whole different definition of that the books are better than movies.
Yeah, but in a
Wow.
different way. It's just a different
Yeah, in
way.
a different way.
Yeah.
And then I learned like in at like Marvel Studios, the writers they hire don't even read the comics either.
No,
Like when I see the
no,
behind the scenes, like they don't even know the I'm like, so
no.
why the hell you hide? Like, why you hiring writers that don't know the comics? Like, why can't like I don't get
Well,
that.
they're Hollywood screenwriters. They have their go-to people, and they're part of the writers guild. So you
Oh,
can't write for
good
films
point.
unless you're
Good
part of the
point.
writers guild. Same thing with directors. Like,
Mhm.
was it Frank Miller? Was it Frank Miller? Yeah, he did Sin City. when him and Robert Rodriguez were doing Sin City, like Frank Miller wasn't a director. He wasn't part of the Directors Guild. So like there was a lot of
Oh.
like issues of him directing Sin City. He had to kind of like go through everything and become like part of the Writers Guild or some or Directors Guild. I think could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure like he wasn't part of that. So Hollywood has its own way of doing stuff, and the
Mm,
people that they have to go to. And I'm really surprised when you talk about risks. Like,
mhm,
why are they not coming to indie books? Like, if you just go through the I don't even know, like Kickstarter alone, let alone
mhm.
go into comic book shops or go
Or
to a comic convention and talk to some of these indie creators, read some of their books. There's like such a huge pool of talent in the
mhm.
indie creator sphere,
Oh, yeah.
and is it they're just not concerned at new IPs because they're unknown or unproven? Well, but like you
Mhm,
said, get a good screenwriter, get a good director, even
mhm.
like B tier, right? You don't have to have A list everybody,
Exactly.
and work with the creator, allow the creator's vision to shine through. And
Mhm.
I feel like there's a lot of untapped potential in the indie comics.
I agree because I can probably guarantee if Hollywood actually get their head out their asses and actually
Yeah,
hire like indie creators and writers and not try to buy their stuff like to control it, Hollywood would be on fire right now
yeah,
because it's
oh
bringing
yeah,
it's bringing new creativity. The movie theaters will be popping hot again.
yeah.
Everybody would be having fun and not and everybody would be getting their money's worth.
Yeah,
But
and I think you could do a lot of indie books. Like even if
yeah,
someone at Hollywood approached me and was like, "Hey, we want to do an ice pick story," I'm like,
hmm
"All right, cool. You could make a film on the cheap." I mean, cheap.
you
Yes,
really
we're
can.
talking millions of dollars, but you're still talking probably 10 to 20 million dollars is very cheap for a Hollywood movie, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And even if you hit into the 40 or 50 million dollar range, that's still pretty cheap when you have Hollywood movies are two, three, $400 million. You know,
but you can get your budget back by that amount from 1 million to 50 million. You can get your budget back if you market it
yeah, I
right.
think so. You know what I mean? Like if you market it correctly
Hmm
and you promote it and you
hmm
give the fan like the viewers out there, you give them something different, but yet it's similar. And that's
Exactly.
to go back to like how I write things or how I draw things. Like I try to write characters that are different, but
Mm,
there's something similar that everyone can relate to. You know?
heck yeah. And speaking of your book, I've been excited since we first met about
Yeah,
about your book. Let's put it up. Here we go. Can you tell us a little bit about Luke, the Bloody Tooth, 1 and 2, a fight for survival? I already signed up to be
nice. Thank you.
notified because I saw
Thank
the
you.
cover and I was like, signed. I didn't read anything else. I just saw,
Thanks.
I like literally I saw the cover and I saw blood and I saw fairies, vampires, and magic. I was like,
Yeah,
signed. Um,
yeah.
so I literally have been excited to talk to you about this since we met and you want
Mhm.
to come on the show. So the floor is yours, brother. Let's-
Yeah,
yeah.
it's the third part. Luke is the third part of my trilogy, and Ice Pick was part one, Annabelle was part two, Luke's part three. The other two books are not required. I'm very specific to when I write a book, it's for, it's its own contained story. Luke Bloody Tooth is
Oh,
literally
okay.
it's a story where Luke is the third main character in my universe of characters. He's,
Mm,
a scientist. He was friends of Ice Pick, and basically after the events of Annabelle, he's like finds out that his all three of their parents, Ice Pick, Annabelle, and Luke, their parents were a witch coven, and they were hunting down dragons for centuries. And Luke finds out like
Jesus.
he's a descendant of a witch coven, and he's like, "What?" Like and I try to write real world type of conversations and reactions. So first thing he does is, yeah, I mean, he's
Mm,
a scientist. He's smart, right? He's like, let me go to
yeah.
Salem, Massachusetts. Like, isn't that where all the witches are from? And he kind of has that,
Yeah.
like, I don't know, like just that dumb-wittedness about him in some regards. So he goes to Salem and comes to find out he meets up with Rose, who is the main fairy in this book. Doesn't know she's a
Okay.
fairy, and they kind of like talk a little bit, they meet up, and in the meantime, he has some vampires that are actually hunting him. So he doesn't know this
Ooh.
because he's
Okay.
just not super aware of everything. He's just kind of like, there's this hot chick that wants to like talk to me at a bar. Okay, cool, you know? And throughout the story, it is definitely a supernatural horror. Fairies and vampires in my world are supernatural creatures. And,
Oh, I love your
you know,
world.
thanks.
I love your
The dragons exist and I have demons and angels. I mean, the whole gamut right now. And that's this is the
Sorry,
story of Luke.
my nerd fans coming out. Sorry.
No, that's great. I appreciate that. I get super stoked about stuff too. But yeah, it's literally like he's there trying to figure out more about who he is, what is who his parents were, like what is a witch, what does that even mean? Like, does you find out in Annabelle he does have kind of superpowers, magical powers, and we learn that Rose explains to Luke that like, hey, you're a magical creature just like me, like you have magic in you. And in my world, the vampires, they like to feed on magical creatures, so the vampires are hunting him to kind of capture him and
Oh.
make him their little blood bank in a way.
Mm,
So you see the viciousness of vampires, you see the kind of sexy side of the fairies, and you have Luke kind of in the middle, like trying to make sense of everything, trying to kind of come to terms with who he is, what he is, and really stay away from the vampires because they keep like randomly showing up. And he learns that vampires are real. Obviously, he learns that fairies are real, and it's kind of a shock to his system. But issue two really focuses on kind of more the shoe drop, the reveal issue. Rose
mm,
kind of talks to Luke and says, "Hey, like we all were created, magical creatures were all created at the same time. Like everything in my world, it's like at the beginning of time, like fairies, vampires, witches, we all were created."
mm,
And she ends up explaining this to him, and why the vampires are the way they are, why the fairies are there to protect. And in my world, the fairies are at the higher end of the food chain and the vampires are at the very lowest part of the food chain. Yes,
mm,
they're strong, fast, and vicious, but the fairies are stronger and faster and actually have magic. So
mm.
it's fun. I show fairies just like murking these vampires in this story. So it's horror, it's suspenseful, and there's definitely blood and guts in this story. So if you like that, this is definitely a book to check out.
I'm already sold. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sold. So it's basically a rated R adult
Uh,
story.
Um, maybe blood and guts. It's not overtly
Or
like there's a couple pages of it. I'd say like probably PG-13,
it just
if anything.
okay. Okay.
There's no nudity, no swearing. I
Okay.
mean, I do like to write real life things, and you could put in like all of that, right? You could make it
Mm,
definitely an R-rated book. I mean, maybe because blood and violence, you say it's rated R, but
yeah.
I'd say it's a higher end of PG-13, not quite rated R.
So it's like at that mid bar of
Yeah, like they probably
okay.
push the envelope, right? I'd
Yeah.
probably put like,
That's what you push a little bit, but it's not fully rated. Okay, I got you. I got you.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, how many pages is your book?
Every issue I write is 22 pages.
22
This
pages.
one's the
Nice.
same, and it's really I've worked with the artist before. I was actually coloring over his art a few years ago for another indie publisher, and I loved his art. I think there's a rawness to Christian's art. It's got like this. It holds its own in black and white, and I think that's important, right? Like if I'm going to do a black and white book, the artwork has to hold its own in black and white. I think
Oh, so this
there's a
is a
lot.
black and white. So this is not colored.
Oh yeah, it's old school kind of black and white horror,
Ah, even more. I figured because it says Gothic, so I kind of figured it was black and white.
Yeah,
But I was just curious because
yeah.
I've seen some Gothic that's with color. So I was
Hmm.
like, ah, this is. I was like, I love the Gothic horror.
Hmm.
Dude, you called me a supernatural horror. I'm gonna be honest. You called me a
Yeah.
supernatural horror. Um, so I'm excited for your book. I'm definitely gonna back it when
Thanks.
you launch.
Thanks.
Do you have a estimated potential time when you're launching
Yeah,
the book?
actually, I'm launching on October 22nd, right before Halloween. I kind of
You heard it here,
planned this
guys.
out.
Sign up
Yeah.
right now for his Kickstarter. He's launching October 22nd before Halloween,
Yep.
which is actually perfect for freaking Halloween. Hell yes.
Right. I love
It's like,
Halloween. It's
hell
my favorite holiday.
yeah.
Um,
Man, that's freaking amazing.
and I'll be doing a convention down in Tacoma, Washington. It's 20, 30 minutes south of Seattle for those in that neck of the woods, Pacific Northwest, November 15th. So, I kind of timed this up to launch the book during one of my conventions. And I try to do that with my books. Like that way people
That's
can
smart.
meet me
That's
in
smart
person,
marketing. That is
you
very
know.
smart marketing.
And I've gotten backers during conventions. This is only a 1 day show, so it's a little bit shorter show. But
Right. Okay.
that's the thing. Like for us indie creators, there is a nut to crack for marketing. And
Mhm.
I've seen some indie creators do like great marketing, and their books really do very well on Kickstarter. Next year, I'm actually looking to branch out and get into distribution of all the books, and I'll be doing all the books I've done up to that time. I'll be remastering them and having retail distribution. So I'm looking forward to that, but that's several months away, and that's a lot of work.
Oh yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah.
Especially you remastering it. Oof, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I
Mm.
have all the raw files, so I can go in there and tweak what I need to if ever. I'm just gonna go. When I say remastered, it's probably gonna be like a loose remaster. I'm
Oh,
just gonna
okay,
tweak colors if I need to tweak colors. Read the script
got
again,
it.
make sure that like things fall in line like the way I intended them to be. Hopefully, fill out any plot holes if I screwed things up,
Mm.
stuff like that. I know the Annabelle book. I also have I did a Ice Pick trade and an Annabelle trade, and those are also available for this Luke Kickstarter as add-ons. So I mean, like any of the fans of Dark Space Studios, like I offer all my books. I got a bunch of variant covers people can pick from as well. But when I did Ice Pick, it was just like I have all the raw files. Annabelle was a little
Oh,
bit of a
and do
spicier
you by
book.
chance have a website for Dark Space Studio?
Yeah, it's actually
Like,
here. I
I
can.
would love to check it out. Can you send it to you in a private chat?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's just darkspacestudio.com.
okay, Dark.
All one word, but here you go. Um, and I have all my books available up there. Original art. Actually, for the Kickstarter, I am doing an original art tier where I will be selling the original art, cover art
Mm.
of Luke. So anyone interested in getting in on some original art, a lot of fans out there like original art. I'll have that available. Uh, Annabelle's going to be a little bit tricky to do the
Ah,
remastering.
there it is.
Yeah.
There we go.
So
Dude, look at that
that's
graphic. My God.
yeah. Thanks. So Ice Pick is all my art, all my colors, all my lettering, the whole shebang. Annabelle, I did all the standard covers, so that's all my art as well, coloring.
This is
Uh,
yeah, this is the story. I became a big fan of you when I saw when I saw you posted on Facebook about
mhm.
Annabelle. Because
Yeah.
I'm when I saw that dragon, I was like, good lord, that's freaking beautiful.
Thank you.
Man,
Yeah.
and this is all your art, pencil, ink, and
Yeah.
color and lettering,
Yeah. I did all the logo design for the characters. So
and they're all standalone books, so we can just start from anywhere, right? Well,
absolutely. Ice
okay.
Pick is a standalone story. It's 4 issues. Annabelle standalone 4 issues. I will say, like, if let's say you're a fan of Ice Pick, and I've had fans come up to me and ask me, when are we getting more Ice Pick books? And it's like, you'll see it's coming along. But with the stories I tell, all my characters show up in each other's books. So for
Hmm.
Ice Pick, I introduced Ice Pick, Annabelle, and Luke. In Annabelle, Ice Pick and Luke show up, and in Luke, Annabelle and Ice Pick show up. So if you're a fan of the character, pick up the other books because they show up in these books and they have a major part of the story. So
Wow.
since I have Luke out, I have to actually get my butt and update the website a little bit to, tell a little bit more of the story. And I have to add issue one. I just actually finished shipping out all of issue one for the Kickstarter recently. So
Oh,
now that I have
nice.
physical books of Luke, I'm going to update the website with all the Luke books.
Wow. And so so is this when you say cover, I guess that's a cover by itself or is this like a digital copy of the book?
On the website, it's all physical copies right now. I've had people kind of reach out to me and ask, like, "Am I going to offer digital books?"
Mm,
I'm really thinking about that. I know that's something that a lot of people like. I got to get into the website and spend some time making sure that that all functions, accordingly. Like for me, being kind of a designer, videographer, and the things that I've done since I graduated college, you
yeah.
know, I care a lot about presentation, but I also care a lot about the user experience. So, I mean, I built this website all myself. Like I said, I'm self-taught for a lot of stuff, and
Yeah, I built my
I
websites by myself too. The
yeah,
honest,
and
yeah.
it's so easy now. Like I feel like you don't need a lot of coding, you don't need to do a lot of stuff.
You
The
really
internet
don't.
is your help. You go to YouTube, figure stuff out. But I did have early HTML coding, in
Mm,
college and stuff like that. But that was again way, way, way before the internet is what it is today. So I
gotcha.
want to make sure the user experience is good, whether it's on desktop, on mobile, now that we have mobile devices. So
Yeah.
for me, like I go in there and I tweak the website to make sure it's looking good and the user has a good experience. I want someone, if they like what I have, find it quickly, check out. I get an email saying, "Hey, this book is bought." I ship it out within 24, 48 hours. And I want that to be a good user experience. So the website is I keep that in mind when I do the website. This is all the original art I have available.
Wow. This is freaking amazing.
Thanks. So yeah, I've been drawing for a
Mm.
long time.
Wonder Woman,
Yeah,
Wolverine.
yeah. And a lot of these I have prints of as well. Like I when I do conventions, I'm a fan
Oh,
first. I tell
yeah.
people I'm a fan first. Like
Oh,
I
yeah.
started drawing Spider-Man, right? I didn't start drawing my own, original character at 14, So
Ah, okay, okay, I got you.
I was always
Witchblade.
drawn. Yeah,
That
love
character sounds
Witchblade.
familiar.
Yeah,
Is,
she's
is
really
that from
good.
Top Crow?
Top Cow, yeah, they had
Top
Mark
Cow? I'm
Silvestri.
sorry, I said Top Crow. Sorry, Top Cow.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude,
Mark Silvestri and Michael Turner did a lot of Witchblade stuff. They had a TV
you
show.
even got Moon Knight. Oh my God.
Yeah, I have a print of that. So I do. I'll end up drawing something that I'm a fan of, and then
Yeah.
I'll color it, make a print, call my, put an order in for my printer, be like, yo, can I get like 50 of these for a show? And so I do have a portfolio of just like fan art because I know a lot of people like that. But I really am like focusing more on publishing books and writing
Uh,
stories and doing stuff like that. But
you're a Mario and Transformers fan too. Oh my God.
oh yeah, oh yeah, people love that
Dude.
Mario. I got a Mega Man. People love the Mega Man and Mario.
Harley Quinn and Deadpool. I knew Deadpool had to be in somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as an artist, we do fall into the trope of drawing what's popular sometimes, but,
Even
you
Star
know,
Wars, man.
yeah.
This
Oh,
is
yeah.
this is clean. Wow.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Thanks. Thanks.
Oh man, dude. Wow. I am blown away by your art. It's freaking
Thank you.
beautiful. Oh
Thank
my
you.
God. Man, I'm gonna have to commission you to do an art poster for me.
It's interesting you
Man,
say that because I have over the last few years, people have reached out and it's like, hey, can you do a cover for me? Can you do a pinup for me?
mm,
And I'm always open to commissions and like even other indie creators. I've done covers for other indie books too. So, I try to
wow.
charge, a reasonable rate, but I'm also
Mm,
someone who's knows the importance of paying artists. So,
yeah.
and within the indie sphere, like money is always a concern, but I always
Oh
make
yeah.
sure that my artists get paid. They get paid what
Same.
they request.
Same.
I
Yeah.
really don't negotiate. I know some people will I'm like, what's your page rate? Okay, if I can afford it, I'm paying it. I mean, it's just that
Yeah.
simple. I'm not going to negotiate that.
Yep.
Um,
I'm the same way.
but yeah, I'm always open. I love drawing other characters. I love the researching of the characters, and it's always fun to do something, draw something that's not mainstream. Indie books are definitely not mainstream, so it's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. Man. Now, let's get back into movies a bit.
Sure, yeah,
Since you talk about horror, um, what's like some horror movies or shows that inspired you to do Luke and Annabelle and Ice Pick? One of those covers looked like the Joker. That gave me the vibe of the Joker.
Yeah,
I was like I'm curious. What horror movies like inspired it? I'm genuinely curious. Like for like if it's like one specific or multiple plethora. Like
it's
talk
it's
your
quite a
talk. Like
bit.
I'm really curious.
Yeah. It's a lot actually. I mean,
Okay.
to me, like my favorite kind of sci-fi horror. I know we can kind of mash genres a little bit, but
Yeah.
um, Alien is definitely one of my all-time favorite horror movies, hands down. The second one definitely is more action oriented, but that's still a pretty
Sure.
fun horror movie.
Sure.
You know, I love a lot of the original. We talk about John Carpenter's A Thing, like
Mm,
that's one of my top tier horror movies. The first Halloween, I mean, I'm of that age where it's like for me, it's a lot of classics. Like I haven't seen.
ah.
Oh, what did we just watch? Speak No Evil is a more recent movie with I don't remember the actor's name, but he plays Professor X. I'm sorry,
James McAvoy.
yeah, I'm sorry, he plays Charles Xavier in a lot of the newer X-Men
Professor X.
movies.
Yeah. James
And
McAvoy. Yeah.
he
He's a
is,
fantastic actor.
oh my goodness, like I watched, like me and my wife were watching this, we're like, what did we just watch?
I
Like
haven't
this
seen it yet.
was
How was it?
seen, yeah, Speak No Evil. That's I know people love Sinners. I haven't seen that yet, and I have heard good things about it. But Speak No Evil, I was just like blown
Sinners,
away. Like,
fantastic movie. You have fun
yeah,
with it.
I've heard that, so that's on
I
my
will.
list.
I
Like,
will say if you go into thinking it's a vampire movie, don't do that.
oh
I'll,
no, that's what I've
I'll,
heard. Like,
yeah, I'm about to say that.
people were saying it's kind of like almost low key a vampire movie. Like,
Hmm.
that's not the thing about the movie, but it's in
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
And for something like that, I can appreciate. Like, I like a lot of the undertones that
Hmm.
films kind of like, the subtleties that they will add. But Speak No Evil is good. I would recommend it. I think it's like a fun. It's a horror movie, but it's like a psychological kind of horror
Oh,
movie,
my favorite.
and it's intense. And he is just so commanding. Like
Mm,
when he's on screen, like you are like, this dude's bad, but I don't know why yet. But I get that vibe. Like he's controlling and manipulative, and like
mm,
he does the psychological war type of stuff. That's fun. But as
mm.
far as get back to like inspirations, like the Alien, the Thing, Halloween, like those types of things. Spawn, I don't know if it's really horror, but it's definitely like comic booky. Blade, the first Blade movie. It's definitely, there's inspirations for like the vampires and the viciousness of them. Those types of things. I love kind of campy horror movies. So even like Friday the 13th is kind of fun. Nightmare on Elm Street. Those are all the
I
classics.
love the first Friday the 13th. I watched all of them and I wasted 13 hours of my life, but I like the very first one.
Yeah, I really like those. And so for Luke, like I write Luke in that campy. It's still supernatural horror. There's still like some blood and guts. There's still some
Mm,
fun horror elements in it, but there's also this like, you're in a town, you don't know what's going on, and
ooh,
you meet somebody, and there's this horror element, but then there's this like fun. Sometimes there's jokes that are cracked, or things that'll happen that you find a
mm,
little comical. I don't like putting that a lot in horror movies, but or horror scripts for comics, but I think it does lighten the mood a little bit, so it's not super intense all the time. But yeah, I mean, just in general, like so many good horror movies, and you just, even John Carpenter's Vampires, that's another really fun vampire movie.
I
um,
ain't seen that in so long.
yeah, the first one's really good. But yeah, those are some of my, I guess, inspirational movies for this book.
Man, that's freaking fantastic. Man, like when you I actually not recently, but I just watched like the very first Halloween movie from 1978
Hmm.
because I've seen all the other Halloween movies, including the 2018 trilogy. Well, I never
Hmm.
saw the actual original one.
Oh
So
wow.
I actually went back and see how the hell all this started. Why the hell Michael Myers do all
Hmm.
this? And now I understand Michael Myers. And I was like, dude, this dude is crazy. I was like,
Yeah.
he really, really, really is obsessed with Lori.
Yeah.
I was like, now I understand why he's obsessed.
Yeah.
And
And that's the thing, like his character, he's just crazy. Like he's
yeah,
just mentally unstable, does
yeah.
whatever he wants to do, and there's no rhyme or reason.
And I really love how they never show his face. Like
Yeah.
it makes it even more suspenseful. Like why don't they show the man's face? Like, even
Yeah.
when he's older, we saw like you got like a blooper, like not blooper, blurry version of his face.
Yeah.
Like we can see that he has like when he got bashed. You know, and you can
Hmm.
see it. I was like, dude, this is crazy.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
good.
I love I love the 2018 Halloween. I think that was the
Yeah.
best one out the new trilogy.
Hmm.
But I still enjoy all three of of the new trilogy.
Yeah.
And I heard they're making a Halloween TV series
Uh, I don't
apparently.
know.
Uh,
I'll stick with movies.
right. I haven't heard any updates about that, but and on Friday the 13th they're making a Crystal Lake TV series.
Oh yeah, I
Uh,
did hear about that. Yeah.
yeah, that's finally picking up, and I'm actually excited for it because they got uh, Velma from the live action Scooby Doo playing the mother, playing
Okay.
Victor's mother. I was like, oh crap, you hooked me because I love her. I
Oh, nice. Yeah.
was like,
And I'm
crap.
that way too. Like if I see an actress or actor like they were in a couple movies I like or a TV show, I'm like,
Yeah,
I like them too. Like I'll go ahead and pick up whatever, like watch whatever they're doing.
yeah. And are you like? And I'm also curious. Are you like a Five Nights at Freddy fan? Like, have you played the games or
Nope,
even seen the
never
movie?
played the game. I'm kind of a low key gamer, I guess. I mean, I do game, but I'm not like heavy into streaming or anything like that. I just kind of I do it as more of a hobby, kind of just chill out for, a couple
Sure.
hours
Same.
shooting, doing some games. Never
Same.
played the game. My kids have told me about it. I mean, my kids are grown, but like years ago when it was like
Ah,
big,
okay.
they said it was good and fun. And we go to conventions. I see people dressed up, Five Nights at Freddy. I have no idea what is going on, but yeah, never
Yeah.
never played it, never saw it.
I've actually played the games and I saw the first movie. I think they did that was I think that was like one of the best video game adaptations. Um, they kept the story and I'm really excited how they're gonna do how they did the second one.
Hmm.
Um, you don't have to play the game, but I think you will like. I think you will at least like the movie.
Yeah,
Because it's machine puppets.
yeah.
Because it's hard. It's PG-13, so you don't see the gore.
Hmm.
But in the game, in the game version, it gets darker. It get more crazier in the game.
Hmm.
But in the movie, I'm actually glad how they pacing it and not going straight into it too fast.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I would love to get your thoughts on if you ever see the Five Nights at Freddy movie. I recommend it.
I, okay, I'll
Uh,
check it out. I'll add it to my list.
yeah, that's outside. Whenever you get the chance, I know you're busy. We all business creators, but if you just
Yeah,
need like, I think that would probably be an inspiration for you when you're writing horror. Like, you can probably add that into your gothic universe with animatronic puppets or something. uh,
yeah,
um, but I think you at least have fun with it.
yeah.
Especially how you kind of base your stuff on like real life stuff.
Hmm.
Um, Friday Night Freddy is based in like an abandoned amusement, but not an amusement. I'm
Okay.
sorry. A bit basically it's like he's based in an abandoned Chuck E. Cheese mixed with incredible
Yeah.
pizza. If best way to
Uh-huh.
explain it.
Yeah.
I'm like you can probably add that element from that movie to your stories. So if you want to base something off like that, so I think that would inspire you a bit.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for like practical effects. So if a movie is
Yeah.
doing practical effects, I'm gonna lean
Oh
towards
yeah,
watching that.
it's definitely practical effects. That sucker's real.
Yeah, that's
You can
cool.
tell that was no CGI. That was practical effects. And
Yeah,
I've seen behind the scenes they actually built the animatronics, which I was
that's
very
cool.
excited for. I was
That's
like, that's
cool.
why it's even more cooler.
Right.
I
Yeah, I
was like,
agree. Like
dude,
CGI has just gotten out of hand, in my opinion. Like,
I agree. I agree.
it's use it to enhance the film, I guess. Use it to maybe add what would be not cost effective. But to
Mhm.
me, still practical effects is it's just, and I think that's why the film budgets have just blown up in recent years. Like I think early on, like a lot of filmmakers were like, oh, we could use CGI to like maybe kind of cut corners and save some money because it was
Mhm.
maybe cheaper than to do practical effects. But I think the script is kind of flipped in that regard where I don't know, maybe it's cheaper to do practical effects because there's so many things that have been created to make practical effects quicker and easier,
Mhm.
than hiring a team of CGI artists and pay them. Like, they make good
Mhm.
money. You know what I mean? Like, they don't come cheap. So, and to do good CGI takes time. It takes a lot of time.
Yes, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my God, man. And I want to flip back one more time to superhero. Do you think that's an actual superhero for fatigue, or is it just bad writing? It's not really
All,
superhero fatigue, or is it could be all the above?
yeah, it's definitely all the above. It's,
Mm,
I was really excited when, you see, growing up, I was like, okay, I saw the 70s Spider-Man, or I'm
mhm,
sorry, the 70s Superman. And then,
mm.
in the 80s, I saw Michael Keaton as Batman, which in my opinion is still the best Batman, but,
Yeah,
that's
I
up for
agree.
debate.
I agree.
uh,
No, Michael Keaton is
Blade,
the best. He was the
yeah,
best in that Flash movie. He was the only good part of that Flash movie was Michael Keaton.
exactly. Yeah, I agree. Uh, and that's the thing is, like, we had, like, kind of, I mean, Tim Burton does dark superhero movies, so I get why Batman was what it, and it fit the character perfect. But
Mhm,
then, once computer and CGI kind of caught up to the vision of what superheroes could be, I
mhm,
think, like, the first Iron Man movie, I think there was enough practical effects in it, but then the CGI kind of added to that. And
mhm,
to me, like, that was kind of like, hey, we can do this now. We can do superhero movies like they should be done, right? Something that's believable, with good storytelling, and the practical effects with the combination of good CGI work. So
mhm,
there's, in the 10 years that Marvel was doing films, there were some really good movies that looked believable. They still hold up as far as the practical effects and the CGI. And then there was also a lot of movies that kind of fell flat. And I think that's where the fatigue comes into play. That's where but, kind of bad writing, like you mentioned earlier. Like,
mhm,
if these screenwriters aren't reading the comics, and do they even get the characters? I
mm.
mean, your character is doing something, like, say, Iron Man or whoever is Thor is saying or doing something that's completely out of character from the
Mhm.
comics, right?
Oh yeah.
So, where's that line? And I would just say it's kind of all of the above. I think we as fans want to see good superhero movies, right? We will
Mhm,
pay to go to the theater to see this. And
mhm.
but it's got to be good. It can't be, a sloppy script with very kind of cliche, or, kind of forced writing.
Agree.
And it's got to look good,
Mhm. Agree.
it amazes me, like, the technology that we have to make things look really good. Like, we talk about, I said Alien was one of my favorite, horror movies, but me and my wife went to go see Alien Romulus, and it looked phenomenal. Like, it looked great, but
Mhm.
it fell flat with the script for me. As an Alien fan, I knew all the films. I love all the films. I've watched them
Fair.
all many, many, many times, and I'm like,
Fair.
Romulus is the weakest of all of them by far. And
Really?
but
I
oh
honestly thought
yeah,
Resurrect. I thought Resurrection was the weakest for me.
it it was, for me, like, it was weak because they literally were taking parts of all the other Alien movies
Oh.
and put them into
Okay.
this one. And that, to me, loses originality. Like, the idea of them coming across Nostromo, and,
Mhm.
like, what's going on, and I'm like, okay, you got me. That's a really hell of a story to tell. Like, that's, of course, how does this unfold in telling this story? And there were just, like, some
Ah,
really ludicrous things in the story that, like, kind of, it didn't really fall in line with the Alien franchise. So,
gotcha. That makes sense. I gotcha.
yeah, it's just those kind of things. And I could be just an old crabby man and, like, screw new movies, but I've
No,
seen some
you're
new.
just being a fan. I'm like,
Yeah,
you're a
like,
fan.
I've seen all the movies. I love all the movies. I
Have you
quote
checked out
these
the
movies.
Have you checked out the Alien Earth show?
I've heard good things about it, and I'm kind of waiting until all the episodes are out, and then I'm just gonna, like, binge it in a couple days. So, I've heard it's, like, at first it started out kind of slow for some people. I don't mind slow movies, or slow shows. I got to know that going in. Like, if I'm expecting Alien, it is a little bit of a slower build,
Mm,
right? I mean, those stories always had, like, a build up in them. They
mm,
never just started you right off in, like, action sequences with the alien
mm.
doing stuff. So I expect it to be a little bit slower, but I've heard there's some really cool characters in it, and it's pretty solid.
Yeah, I watched a few episodes already.
Hmm.
For me, I'll say it's a 7.3 out of 10.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
7.3 out of 10. Characters, I'm like, Jesus, I'm not even want to spoil it, but it does start off slow, but it's that type of slow that builds the tension.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the type of slow it kind of you get. Um, like even the alien music, it's like they're just trying to build your tension and to
Hmm.
like to pull you in. Um, and the storyline they're actually going with the show, I think, is actually pretty intriguing. I think I would probably say it's a little bit original.
Hmm.
I don't, cause and is it I'm trying to explain not to spoil it for you because I want you to
No,
experience
that's
it for
fine.
yourself.
Yeah, I've heard it was good.
Um,
It's definitely something I want to check out.
yeah, but it's definitely an interesting since this is supposed to be this is a prequel of Alien. I forgot what the timeline is. I think was it before Prometheus?
I think it's before three, maybe after two,
No, it's I
or
think
before after one, before two.
I think I forget the timeline. I
Yeah,
kind of
but
yeah.
you're right. It
It's
is. It's.
but it is a backstory. But I think it's before one, before Ripley.
Oh, okay.
I
Interesting.
think don't take my word for it. I think it is, but I have to research it because I
Yeah,
forget the time. There's so much lore. I keep forgetting the timelines. But it does start out slow to build attention to grab you in, and it actually
yeah,
makes total sense as you keep going. The alien, dude. I laugh when people said the alien's too shiny. I was like, you're supposed to see it. Well, you want to be too freaking dark in the show, you can't see it.
yeah. And that's another thing. Like a lot of films,
It'd
there's a
be
lot of
way too
films that are
dark.
dark.
You
Yeah,
can't see
they're really
shit.
dark.
And then when you actually look at the show, the alien's not that shiny. You can see it very clearly,
Yeah, that's
which is
cool.
actually really good.
Yeah,
And I really love the alien is very vicious as it's supposed to be.
right.
It's still ugly as hell.
Yeah,
But I look forward to hearing your feedback on what you think when you get to watch it and when all the episodes play.
yeah,
Um, well, I do agree with Alien Romulus. I enjoyed Alien Romulus, but it did feel like it was just taking parts of the original movies to put into one movie.
yeah.
I'm like, I get you a fan, but you could have made this your own thing and not
Yep.
taking from the original movies. Like you could have like paid homage to the other movies in a different
Yeah,
way and made your own
yeah,
adaptation of Alien to continue the story.
yeah,
So yeah, I'm with you on that one. I am with you on that one.
yeah.
But
And
I
that's a
re-
small gripe. I mean, I still like
yeah,
the movie. I just think
I
it
did. Yeah.
like again, there's so many good indie creators and writers out
Yeah.
here, that when you start reading other stuff outside of like Marvel, DC, and even some of the
Mhm.
image books, I'm amazed at like some of the creativity and storytelling that's out there. And it's like, why has that not started to kind of filter into some Hollywood stuff? And it could be financials. I don't know what
Mhm.
their motives are, but yeah, that movie just it had potential to be very cool and original. It looked
Mhm.
great, but then the story just kind of is a little flat to me.
Yeah, and now they're making a sequel to Romulus, which I'm hoping it'll be way better.
Yeah,
So
I
it's going to be
hope.
interesting to
Yeah.
see that. So we're actually getting to time. I don't want to hold you too long. I was
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
I can legit talk about this and nerd out all day long,
All
but
day.
all day. But I'm trying to keep a limit. I'm trying to put full fledged nerds. We can do other episodes and nerd out together and bro
Yeah.
out. Um, one your new book, Luke, Blood Tooth 1 and 2.
Yep, one and two. That I have a catch up tier reward.
Gotcha.
So for those that want issue one, get issue two. They get one and two.
Beautiful,
We're doing this Kickstarter a little bit different. We'll see how it goes, but got
beautiful.
original art on there. Got PDF. We got digital. Anyone who is a physical backer also gets the PDF.
Okay.
So for me, like to your question of having PDFs on my website, like
Mm.
I do all my books through Kickstarter, right?
Okay.
So whenever I release a new book, like if they're a backer, that's another perk for being a backer is you're gonna get that digital PDF. Like,
Okay.
so I
Okay.
don't really
Yeah.
charge it on my website. But you're right, for like newer fans that are buying the new stuff, they want some of the older
Mm.
books. Like, yeah, that might be an option. But
Okay. Okay. And can you tell us where we could find you, like on social media, so we can
Yeah,
keep up with your stories?
yeah, I'm on quite a few social media. So whatever platform you're on, you could probably find me out there. It's just Todd Rayner Art, all one word. Search my name. Ice pick is pretty, prevalent. Like it's pretty unique out there. So if you see that, you'll see me kind of attached to that. But
Heck
yeah,
yeah.
I have a YouTube channel for Dark Space Studio where I go into like a lot of my process. So it's
Oh,
just
nice.
yeah, it's a lot of me just coloring, drawing, talking about what I'm thinking about when I'm drawing, laying stuff out, proportions, some technical things. I don't nerd out too heavy because I want to kind of try to keep it easy to digest and understand for folks. But I
Gotcha.
have like a lot of my process of a lot of the prior covers. So if you like some of that cover art, it's all on Dark Space Studio on my YouTube channel.
Beautiful. And I am Kevin Davis. You can find me on Instagram at I am Kevin Davis Official, and Facebook at I am Kevin Davis CEO, and my website at Kevirsyle.com. And this has been Kevirsyle Network, and we'll see you guys next time. And also, his book, Luke Bloodtooth 1 and 2, comes out October 22nd on
You
Kickstarter.
got it.
You better back it. If you don't, you're an asshole. But I'm kidding. I'm not. But seriously, back his book. It's freaking beautiful. The art, if dude, it's phenomenal. I'll catch you guys
Thank
later.
you.
See you.